Did you get to see my drive in the first hole?
You hit it straight and pretty high.
I did.
Yeah.
Pretty long. Pretty long. That's no Joe Biden.
The slow trickle and changing of stories and narrative and lies from Donald Trump it's in full swing right now relative to this Jeffrey Epstein saga, his nearly decade and a half long, as Jeffrey Epstein put it, best friendship with Donald Trump. Currently in our country, we have a situation where the Republican Party continues to act like they are here to protect children from the dangers of woke propaganda, of hating the country, of pornography in libraries. The entire conspiracy theory surrounding the Democrat cabal that eats babies' faces and imbues themselves with mystical power from adrenochrome. All of this nonsense, bizarre nonsense. It's kind of coming to a head right now. And Donald Trump yesterday, because the narrative is shifting and he's giving the slow trickle. And look, we don't know whether the slow trickle is just by nature of Donald Trump not being able to keep his mouth shut, or if it's by design. I don't know. I haven't been able to make a determination yet, but he is certainly giving us more information each day when he gets peppered with questions. And yesterday he was on Air Force One on the way back from Scotland, where he was promoting his golf course using our money to promote his private businesses. And he was asked about his friendship with Jeffrey Epstein and the fact that he said earlier that he had disconnected from Jeffrey Epstein because he was a creep, because Jeffrey Epstein was a creep, according to Donald Trump. Not that Donald Trump was a creep, but I think we all, birds of a feather and such. And then later, he made a statement about how it was that he stole an employee. Well, yesterday we got the news, the little tidbit, the extra detail, that the employee in question that was stolen from Donald Trump was none other than Virginia Giuffre, who took her own life last year as a result of the trauma of being trafficked by Jeffrey Epstein and his friends, passed around by his friends. And Donald Trump talks about this not with empathy and compassion for the plight of someone who was horrifically abused, but as a transactional item, a ledger item, that she was stolen as though she was property by Jeffrey Epstein. And that was a bridge too far for Donald Trump. That is what cracked the friendship, not that Jeffrey Epstein was a vile, sinister, systematic abuser of children. No. That he got in the way of Donald Trump's business interest. First, though, let me say this. Find someone who looks at you the way that Donald Trump looks in this first clip where he's talking about his golf game. So many things are happening in the world, from wars and genocide in Gaza, the starvation, the systemic starvation of a people at the hands of Benjamin Netanyahu, with our assistance, again, with our money. And Donald Trump is ranting and raving and promoting his own golf game. The important stuff.
Thanks, President. We all had a great time seeing that beautiful course, but there's some critics who say this was a promotional trip for you.
That it was what?
That it promoted you and your business personally. What do you say to that?
I haven't heard that, no. I haven't heard that. Did you get to see my drive in the first hole?
You hit it straight and pretty high.
I did.
Yeah.
Pretty long. Pretty long. That's no Joe Biden, let me tell you. That's not Biden, right? That was a good drive.
Abject dipshit. So listen, that came at the very beginning. I think that was the second or third question. Right in the middle, though, they really got to it and started asking questions about this change of tone, this more information that he's trickling out to the press involving his long-time relationship with a notorious villain. And this is what he said. And I want you to note the callousness.
President, you said yesterday your falling out with Jeffrey Epstein was over him taking some of the workers from your business. But your administration in the past said that you threw him out because
Well, maybe they're the same thing, you know, sort of a little bit of the same thing. But no, he took people that worked for me, and I told him don't do it anymore, and he did it, and I said, stay the hell out of here.
This is the president of the United States. Some people, you know, when tragedy strikes in the United States, refer to the commander-in-chief, the president of the United States, as the consoler-in-chief. Now, Donald Trump is bereft of any empathy, bereft of any notable ability to put himself in the shoes of others, to experience the hurt and the pain, or at the very least, to fake it, to fabricate empathy. He can't do it. He's talking about how he was wronged relative to Jeffrey Epstein and the crimes that he committed, the adjudicated crimes that he committed against girls who then became women. And in the case of Virginia, killed herself. We deserve better as a country, of course. Republicans even deserve better from their president than this. He laughs in their face, knowing that they are just on the scale of rubery, they are topping out. There's no level of rube that they can attain greater than that which they already have. And Donald Trump has seen to it that they are mocked by not only the country, but by Republicans in power.
Those individuals that tried to assassinate my character will be hearing from us and all of Oklahomans very, very soon.
If you pay attention to news with any regularity, and I don't know about you, but for me, the thing that wears me down, that gets me down emotionally, my morale, is Republican hypocrisy and the fact that there are few consequences for it, for the bald-faced lies that are told by Republicans, when they're caught dead to rights in scandal, the fact that they just march ahead, forge ahead, lying. Everyone knows they're lying, including the base, including the MAGA base. They know they're liars, but it doesn't matter as long as they keep their eye on the prize to alter our culture, to harm marginalized groups in our country. As long as they're able to accomplish that, the base looks the other way. And Ryan Walters is one of these vile, just gross hypocrites. And he has the cover of one of the most conservative electorates, one of the most conservative set of electeds in the country, in Oklahoma. He's the guy who bought all the God Bless America Bibles, you know, the Lee Greenwood nonsense that Donald Trump he made millions off of. He put his name on it. Like it's his, like he got a co-writing credit for the Bible or something. This is who Ryan Walters is. He is the superintendent of public education in Oklahoma. He is a vile, white, Christian nationalist. And I guess really the only takeaway from this story, if you followed it, I'll cover it at the end after I play these clips. He got caught with porn on his computer while at work, while in a meeting, in his official capacity, he had porn on his computer and got busted. Now the hypocrisy comes in two different places. It is the fact that he's lying, and it's the fact that now we know that he's lying based on the fact that two different stories. You know someone's lying when they give one excuse, they blame one person in one setting, and then in another setting, it's a whole new villain that they get to demonize. And that's what he did. Yesterday, he gave this statement, blaming, in very just beautiful Donald Trump fashion, he's blaming and creating a conspiracy that the conservative Republican MAGA governor of Oklahoma is out to get him. That's who's to blame here. Watch this.
These board members have a lot to answer for, and so does the governor of the state of Oklahoma. Did he direct these board members to lie about me? Did he direct his board members to go in and disrupt everything in these board meetings? Did he have the board fight against bringing private schools into the state for families to have school choice? What exactly directives were they given? We have had our name cleared by both OMES and the sheriff's office. There is nothing scandalous that I was a part of whatsoever. And the lies will have consequences. Those individuals that tried to assassinate my character and print and publish things that are demonstrably false and provably false, we'll be hearing from us and all of Oklahomans very, very soon.
Sweet threats there, douche canoe. Listen, it is not by accident that he used the word assassinate relative to his character. Oh, my character's being assassinated. Fight, fight, fight. He wants to align himself with Donald Trump in every way that he possibly can, even if that means making this look like an assassination attempt, even though Donald Trump's assassination attempt wasn't really an assassination attempt. He wasn't even hit by a bullet. Make it make sense. But the real odd thing here is the fact that even someone with a cursory understanding of the media landscape and the political landscape right now knows that that would be the answer. That would be the story. That would be the line. That would be the narrative. That would be the set of messaging that Ryan Walters would go with, is that it was Governor Stitt. He's to blame. I'm just asking questions here. Did he direct these people to assassinate my character? He would stick with that, right? No. He made another statement. I couldn't find it. I found it on Twitter, but I couldn't find it on YouTube to give you the fuller context. But here is the statement where he's no longer blaming the governor. No. Now it's the fake news and the media. Apparently, it's a wide-ranging conspiracy against dipshit Ryan Walters.
Is the nastiest political attack we've seen on an Oklahoma official. These are lies by board members, by a corrupt news media, and perpetuated by the teachers union to try to stop the will of Oklahoma voters and the Oklahoma parents. What we are going to continue to do is move this education reform for the families of Oklahoma. I will not stop. I will not back down to these lies by board members and others. These board members should resign immediately in disgrace over the lies that they have pushed about me to try to destroy my character. My family's had to read these headlines that are simply not true. This is why people don't trust the news media. So many lies that they have run that are factually false and provably false.
You know, I guess really a positive way to look at this without continuing to feel beaten down by the hypocrisy and the nonsense of the Republican Party is that at least he's looking at porn of adults on his computer at work, in mixed company, on the job, while drawing a paycheck. At least it's adults. Because too often, it's children being abused that Republicans really have a proclivity for. Time and time and time again, it's a Republican politician or a cop or some other hero wanting to be lionized by the Republican Party who gets busted for crimes against the most fragile and innocent among us. If you're not familiar, if you're wondering, if you're still here and you don't know what I'm talking about and you're waiting around for me to get to it, here it is. Here's a headline. I'll just read you 3 paragraphs to sum it up for you. This is from the New Republic. MAGA superintendent who put Bibles in schools faces porn investigation. Ryan Walters reportedly played porn during an official meeting. According to Oklahoma politics site Non-Doc, board member Ryan Dietrich noticed the video on a screen in Walters' office while a parent discussed appealing a district transfer denial. Dietrich says the video featured, quote, multiple nude women and, quote, some sort of chiropractic table. Everybody's got their thing, you know? I guess a chiropractory is his kink. Who who am I to judge? As Dietrich considered how to broach the subject, fellow board member Becky Carson, the only other person with a view of the screen, spotted it too. I was like, what am I seeing? Carson told Non-Doc. At first, she wondered, is that woman naked? Before thinking that she's got a bodysuit on. After noticing nipples and pubic hair, she realized that is not a bodysuit. Both board members described the footage as retro and said it did not feature intercourse. Retro. It was retro, y'all. There's jokes here, but we'll keep this somewhat respectable, right? Carson confronted Walters, telling Non-Doc she was asked what was on the TV, with Walters acknowledging that he saw it. Turn it off now, Carson recalls saying. Walters asked, what is this? What is this? And fumbled to turn it off while saying, I can't get it to turn off. I can't figure out how to turn it off. Maybe, just maybe, we shouldn't have people in charge of public instruction for children who is so comfortable with pornography on his work computer, at work, doing work, during work hours, with colleagues in the room with view of his computer. This irresponsible, maybe, just maybe, he shouldn't be in charge of children and their education, while acting like he is a holier than thou, mighty, righteous man of God who's going to bring them salvation through the word of God. I wonder what his version of God would think about him viewing pornography. Apparently he'd be A-okay with it, right? Anyway, what do you think? I throw this to you. I'd love to know if you live in Oklahoma. I know I've got a pretty sizable audience in Oklahoma. Little spots of blue in a red ocean. I'd love to hear from you. You can comment below. You can also leave me a fewer than 3-minute voicemail, 714-576-4054. And of course, as always, you can email me daily@dollemore.com. I appreciate you very much. If you feel the same or similar, and you want to help support this work, help me produce this work, click the join button below, become a channel member for $2 a month, or go over to patreon.com/IDoubtIt podcast.
And I just got a note that the staggering level of corruption from last night's meme coin dinner.
This is not even part of the segment.
So what?
Look, I don't necessarily think you need to be a complicated person to be president of the United States. But for the love of all that's holy, as the saying goes, can we at least get someone who's not just a simpleton? Someone who it's so easy to read. It's not like, oh, there's under the surface. It may seem like Donald Trump is just a simpleton, but under the surface, he's very complex. That is just not the case. Yesterday, he tweeted on his stupid Truth Social site, I can't stand Jessica Tarlov of the 5. Why is the 5 all capitalized? Is it because the logo is capitalized and he thinks that's how I don't know. Anyway, a real loser, he says, with 3 exclamation points, so you know he's serious. DJT, he signed it with his initials to let you know some lowly staffer didn't send this out. He did. I guess we should feel a little bit lucky that he didn't append to the post that, thank you for your attention to this matter, that I think Jessica Tarlov is a loser. And really, this is not the most interesting part of this. There's really not a lot that's interesting about it. Spoiler alert, you can click off now. But what I want to show you is something that's really remarkable to me. There's a movement in conservatism and in the Republican Party now about being a man and being masculine and being the master of your own destiny. And I'm ungovernable and I answer to no one. I'm my own person, rugged individualism, blah, 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 blah. And all of these people are just bootlickers. They yearn for as much homophobia as exists in the Republican Party. Every single one of these individuals who tweeted about this, who are Republican, they yearn for Donald Trump's appendage to be jammed in and around their mouth and lips. They just cannot get enough of Donald Trump. It's very weird. From Jesse Waters, and I don't think I got anything in here from Jesse Waters, but from Jesse Waters and his obsession with what he places in his lips to drink soft drinks. Whether you have a straw, or whether you cross your legs, or whether you do this or that, and that's not manly, but this is. It's all just weird. It's troubling. It's alarming. This is Nick Sortor. I don't know who he is, but it looks like he's in another super manly man, Tim Pool's studio in his profile pic. He tweeted this just in, like it's an emergency, with the siren emoji. Trump destroyed Jessica Tarlov. And then he quotes it, I can't stand Jessica Tarlov of the Five. A real loser, Trump wrote. We all agree, Mr. President, Fox should fire her. Just slurping away. Yum, 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 yum. Slurping away. Nick Sartor. Benny Johnson, who's never seen a $1 million check from the government of Russia to promote Russian propaganda that he wasn't ready to take. He said this, bad day to be Jessica Tarlov. Is it, Benny? Is it a bad day? Let me tell you, brother, I would love, it would be the honor of my life to be among the Mount Rushmore of people who Donald Trump personally attacks. The closest I've gotten to it is when he blocked me on Twitter like a fucking baby in the first term. In 2017, he had just taken office. That's the closest I've gotten to it, being blocked by his stubby little mushroom fingers. So Benny Johnson, bad day, bad day. Eric Daughtry, I don't even know who this dipshit is, but he's got like 500,000 followers on the Nazi Twitter. Again, with the siren emoji, because, you know, it's a wee-oo, wee-oo. It's an emergency, y'all. LMAO. LMAO, everybody. Laughing my ass off, says Eric Daughtry. President Trump just called Fox's Jessica Tarlov a real loser. I can't stand Jessica Tarlov of the Five. Millions of people agree as they promote the brilliant and beautiful Jessica Tarlov and all of they couldn't even find an unattractive picture of her. It's the least important of the things, but you would think they'd be better at it. And then, of course, there wouldn't be a Trump suckfest without Gunther Eagleman. It's probably his real name, too, right? LOL, he says, LOL. Does anyone like Jessica Tarlov? And he just posted a screenshot of the post. I talk a lot about this. Having been a United States Marine where leadership is talked about so much, I'm not like everybody. I don't think everybody is a leader. You've got followers, and you need followers. You need good followers. You need soldiers. Not in the military sense, in the colloquial sense. But you also need leaders. None of what you just witnessed was leadership or leaders. These people are followers. They are content to prostrate themselves before the dear leader and make absolute sycophants out of themselves. And if you're wondering, what is it? What kind of thing that Jessica Tarlov could have said that would have set him off? I don't know specifically because, you know, I don't occupy the confines of a demented brain like Donald Trump. Maybe soon, you know, who knows? But not right now, I don't. So I have no idea. But it very likely is something like this clip, which is just from the other day, where she is excoriating Donald Trump for his rampant corruption. And if she was on MSNBC or CNN or some other network other than Fox News, it wouldn't be a problem. It's the fact that Fox News listeners hear her truth. They hear the facts from her, and it chips away at the seemingly impermeable barrier between reality and Republican voters. Watch this.
Hold on, let me get him on the phone. Josh?
Tell him I loved his op-ed.
Right.
And Greg mentioned a staggering level of corruption. And I just got a note that the staggering level of corruption from last night's meme coin dinner.
That's what you're focusing on, the meme coin.
No, 40% of Donald Trump's wealth has been accumulated since he became president because of 2 crypto coins. The New York Times did interviews with foreign buyers of this cryptocurrency who came over here to have dinner with him. A guy from South Korea.
This is not even part of the segment.
So what?
You're talking about a meme coin.
Yeah, no, I'm talking about who's corrupt and who is profiting off the American office.
Did he try to cover that up? I don't think so.
Yeah, Caroline Levitt said
you're defending an administration that covered up a dying leader, and you're sitting here going, but meme coin, meme coin.
I'm saying billions.
All right, let's give Paul a chance to clean it up real quick. Paul, final thoughts.
Clean on my side of the street.
All right, all I can say is that
this is not even part of the segment. Stop trying to do this. You're ruining Donald Trump, and people are listening. Says small yet mighty Greg Gutfeld. I was sick yesterday. You know, when you turn 50, you start getting all kinds of vaccines for shit you never thought you needed, like shingles vaccine. I got my 2nd dose of it on Monday, and it knocked me on my ass yesterday. So I just took off. But it's good to be back.
This is going to the Trump blue-collar voters, the people who Joe Biden crushed.
When you tell so many lies, it obviously it's very difficult to keep them all straight, and you start telling on yourself as the more you talk. And this happened yesterday with Josh Hawley, who went on with Steve Bannon on America's War Room or The War Room or whatever his stupid show where he's sitting in front of a mantle of a fireplace with a bunch of pictures of Jesus and shit all over it, you know, because he's a true mighty righteous Christian man. And Josh Hawley, there's all this talk right now about Donald Trump floating the idea of giving the American people, taxpayers, a rebate, a tariff rebate, ostensibly. Which is strange because if tariffs weren't a tax on the American people, why would they need a rebate for the extra money they're spending on products that are being, the price is increasing, effectively being a tax, if that's not the case? And here, Josh Hawley just admits it, that Biden tried to ruin this country and all this just abject nonsense. This guy, this liar, this sickening freak, this pretend Christian, who wrote an op-ed in the New York Times about saving Social Security and not cutting Medicaid and all of this, and then voted for the bill that guts Medicaid, strips 17 million people's health insurance away, cuts $300 billion from food assistance and SNAP benefits. Kids will be hungry. People will go without health care. People will die. And here he is talking to Steve Bannon about the rebate program. Donald Trump, he's really solving the problem that he created by giving a rebate, except there should be no rebate that needs to be given because it's not a tax on the American people. Nothing will change relative to the prices, right? Isn't that what they said? Watch this.
Biden has crushed these people. What a legacy for Donald Trump to say, I'm going to take a portion of this massive money that he's raising on these tariffs and return it to the people who run this country and are going to build our future.
So talk to us about the $600. By the way, this is going to get some traction. Talk to us about the $600. How would you actually walk me through the mechanics of how you would do that?
Yeah, it'd be $600 for every adult and child. So if you've got a big family, you're going to get more. I think that's fantastic. And you phase it out for income, So again, the wealthy, you start making 6 figures, you get into the big 6 figures, you phase the thing out. So this is not going to the hedge fund managers or all the Biden voters. This is not going to the Wall Street kingpins. They don't need any of it. This is going to the Trump blue-collar voters, the people who Joe Biden crushed, the people who didn't get a raise under Joe Biden for 4 long years, the people who cannot afford their gas because Joe Biden shut down our energy, who can't afford their groceries because Joe Biden drove up the price of everything. And it is a message from us to them, from Trump to these folks, that he is here to deliver for them. I got the idea from the president. I mean, the president said maybe we ought to do a little rebate. Great idea. It tells our people, the working people, that we are here for you and these policies are going to benefit them. And we're in it for the long haul. These Trump policies are here to stay.
The guy who refuses to put forward a vote on raising the minimum wage, which is still $7.25, is talking about people who haven't gotten a pay raise in a while. It's such rank hypocrisy and just lies from this guy. But did you catch it? Did you catch it? When he says this is not going to the Biden voters, this is going to Trump blue collar voters. Whew. Mask off. Just like with Donald Trump's administration, Donald Trump himself denying emergency assistance to the state of Maryland because of flooding, while giving tax dollars to Texas and other red states. This is where we are with the Republican Party. The mask is off, especially related to the lies. When he says for the $600 rebate, the massive money that Donald Trump is raising from these tariffs, we can use it to pay the people who are paying that massive money. So it's just like a fucking Ponzi scheme. Donald Trump charges the massive tariffs on countries that get paid for by the importer, by the American company. They pass the cost off to the American consumer who pays it. So if you buy a computer mouse, whatever, and it was going to be $100, I know that's ridiculous, but let's give round numbers here, $100, and there's a 50% tariff, it's now $150. So if you buy it, you paid $150, and then that money goes to the Treasury. And then Donald Trump wants to give some of that money that you paid extra back to you. Just don't charge the tariff, dipshit. It's not a win. It's not a righteous taking care of the American people, Josh Hawley. These people are shameless liars, bending over backwards to protect Donald Trump. Anyway, I'll leave it there. Let's have a further conversation in the comments. You can do that below. You can also call the voicemail line 714-576-4054. And of course, as always, you can email me daily@dollemore.com. Please consider supporting this work. You could do so by clicking the join button below for $2 a month, become a channel member, or you can go over to patreon.com/IDoubtIt podcast and help support and produce this content there. I would appreciate it very much. Another way is to go check out Dollemore.com. We sell merch, stickers, and t-shirts, and mugs, and totes, and all kinds of hats, all kinds of stuff. Also, a children's book about gratitude that I think everybody should check out. It's not just a children's book. It would be a great gift from an adult child to an adult parent as a measure of gratitude for the things that we often take for granted. Anyway, you can learn more about that here after I end. But I appreciate you very much. I'll see you next time. Be genuine. Take care of one another. Many of you are aware that my dear friend and brother of choice, not of blood, Brett McAfee, suffered a near-fatal medical emergency last summer while our families were on vacation in Scotland. I appreciate to no end the outpouring of support for Brett that you all gave. And I'm also very happy to report that he is safe and healing and working that long path of recovery. What I've probably not told you about Brett is that beyond being an excellent friend, he's also a talented writer. We have been the best of friends since we were kids, and I have been continually inspired by his creativity and by the truly singular take that he has on life. Over 2 decades ago, he wrote a poem called The Grateful Child. It's an acknowledgement of all the simple strengths that we tend to overlook. Written from the perspective of a young person, multiple grateful children express gratitude to their parents for the elements that make them who they are. The accounting of these everyday gifts inspires a clear reminder that we should not take anything for granted. I've shared Brett's remarkable poem with numerous people over the years, and a reoccurring response is that this should be a book. Well, we finally decided to listen to those people. The Grateful Child is not only a children's book for adults in your life, it's also an adult's book for children in your life. Everyone will appreciate its straightforward yet elegant celebration of life's little endowments. Click the link below to pre-order now, or simply scan this QR code and order your copy or copies today. But this being an illustrated book, we could not survive on the words alone. To pair with Brett's touching words, we searched all over for an illustrator who could bring the Grateful Child to visual life. We landed on somebody right here in the community from this show. Leah Farshid is an internationally acclaimed illustrator who, like you, is also an audience member. The moment we saw the first images that Leah drew to accompany Brett's text, we knew we had a perfect combination. It brings me tremendous joy to share my best friend's beautiful poem and Leah's spectacular images with the world. Everyone can benefit from the Grateful Child, just as I benefit from Brett's lifelong friendship. Share this beautiful book with your children. Share it with your parents or other relatives. The Grateful Child is an easy and exceptional way to show appreciation for someone in your life, young or old. Support someone you love and support this channel by giving the Grateful Child. Click the link below to pre-order now, or simply scan this QR code. I am pretty sure your children need a copy. And your mom, your nieces and your nephews, your Grandpa Charlie too. Don't forget Grandpa Charlie. I think he'd love this. Make the Grateful Child a part of your life. It has been such an excellent part of mine.